coming back to the point of relationship-oriented country and network-oriented company, we can say vice versa. We cannot. I don't know what the truth of in India, but we cannot avoid the bias that India could be also a kind of relationship or network-oriented country.
Yes, it is.
And as a Japanese or as Japanese companies,
Yes.
we don't know who can trust, who we cannot trust, and how can we overcome that barrier, and who can be the good guy?
Yes, not easy. Yeah. Actually, India also is originally more of a relationship type of a country. I think it's only the new American model which is more transactional in nature. The decision making is fast. It's also driven by the short-term capital and return calculations, because in America people are not owners so much. The CEOs and the investors are different lots of the time. Someone has invested the money, someone else is running the company. So that's where the decision making has a different perspective. It's more transactional. You look for what money I have right now to invest and how much return can I make in the next 1 year, 2 years, how much bonus can I get. So that's the more of the American model of doing business. That's why it's more transactional. You don't think about long-term relationships so much, partly for that reason. Also, America is a very, very multicultural country. People of so many different cultures are there. And that's why India is also like that on that point. And that's why there is no common culture in America, except for the law. Only the law is the common thing. Everything else, everyone is different. So you only go by the rule of the law, not by the relationships or culture. In Japan, it's a very homogeneous country. That's why everyone has the same sense of morality. That's why it's more probably relationship driven. India is somewhere in the middle. I think. I'm not very sure, but it's somewhere in the middle. Manish, you have some points on that? You are dealing with the investment banking, cross-border advisory.
Yeah, you do see a lot of the time that what he was mentioning, the deal gets stuck and cultural differences. Yes, I think relationship in certain sectors you can see that traditionally relationship has been very, very important, fundamental bedrock. For instance, one city, to give you an example, in Gujarat state, Surat, they have almost 80% of the diamond cutting business happening. I mean, globally they mine and then they bring it to Surat and then they cut there. And it's going on for a few hundred years. Reason is, it's not based on rule of law, obviously. It's all because people know each other and they trust. So that's one example, probably very extreme. So we have actually traditionally, but that's going probably more American style. That's my 2 cents.
Yes. That's where I like to emphasize on this point, that the way Japan has built a very, very balanced economy, almost zero crime. That's a very nice thing. It's such a safe and such a convenient country. No one in Japan is deprived of the basic necessities. Everyone has got the food and shelter, healthcare. Even the homeless people here, they are homeless by choice. If they want to work, they can definitely get something to work and make a decent living. They're homeless by choice, but just because they are different. They just don't want to fit in the system. But economically, the country has provided basic necessities to everyone. It's a great country for such a large size country. That's not the case in America, not the case in Australia or any other big developed country. And India should at least keep that in mind. I'm not saying that India should become like Japan, but at least keep that in mind, that such a economy, such a country exists already. And as you mentioned, as Haruka-san mentioned, the environment. If India becomes like America in energy consumption, then that will be a global problem. Yes, please.
Do you think, because you said you've been in Japan for 15 years, right?
Yes.
So I've only been here since April.
I see. Okay. Very bold decision to come to Japan.
Sorry?
Very bold decision in April. You came to Japan in April?
nuclear engineering, so if I was afraid, who was...
You are nuclear engineer. Okay. Wow.
I'm not supposed to be afraid.
It's a very educated decision.
I guess. But from your experience in Japan, I would like to ask you if you think, because I was reading on the Economist like maybe 2 or 3 days ago, they were talking about how Japan suffered from structural pessimism, that it's not necessarily correlated with the reality, because they say that Japan has grown proportionally richer in the last 20 years in terms of the, well, per capita maybe. You can maybe ascribe that to the lower demographics now. But, you know, in Japan I hear so much talk about the eternal recession and 20 years of lack of growth and whatever. Well, when you compare Japan to other countries, it's not that bad.
Exactly, yes.
So I wonder if maybe foreigners in Japan could do a lot more to promote positive feelings about Japan, because I think that it's not the that article really resonated with me, because I said, yes, that's true. There's kind of a structural pessimism that's not necessarily true. So I was thinking maybe if you had a comment, you've been here for 15 years, you know, with your entrepreneur spirit and all that, you know, amongst this kind of structural pessimism, what is your opinion?
Very strongly agree. Very strongly agree. This two sides of a coin. See, I agree. Japan has got this structural pessimism. Japan always likes to talk negative about itself.
Yes, and I don't understand why.
I know the reason, I think. Because they are kind of perfectionist. They want everything to be perfect.
Yes.
So they always try to criticize themselves.
That is one, and secondly, they are very modest. Modesty. So they don't like to talk good things about themselves.
Yes.
On the other hand, the rest of the world is very aggressive now about self-promotion. So that's where, comparatively, the Japan, like the positive support, positive expression about Japan is much less than other countries, because Japan itself is not talking positive about it because of modesty or whatever, the structural pessimism. Rest of the world doesn't know about Japan, and there was this concept of Japan bashing. The article might have mentioned it, I don't know. There was this concept of Japan bashing, that the whole global media talks very negative about Japan all the time.
Yes, it does.
So global media talks negative, Japan itself talks negative.
Yes, even if, for example, this Indian guy, he's on CNN all the time, Fareed Zakaria. He had an opinion on Facebook. I follow him on Facebook.
I see.
And he was comparing the US with Japan and how the US should not become Japan or whatever. And I was like, really? I mean, if America is Japan in 15 years, it's not that bad. You know what I mean? I was like, so I kind of made a comment on Facebook like, are you people serious? You know, I mean, have you been in Japan? I mean, it's not really...
Yeah, they may have never been in Japan. I wonder if Fareed Zakaria himself has been to Japan ever. That's a big problem. Lots of people sitting outside just make comments about Japan without coming here, without knowing it at all.
Right. Because there's so much, there's this, in the media about Japan that I don't really understand. There's like a dissonance in my brain between what I see and what I hear that is so fantastic. I wonder if people have experienced the same thing.
That's what Harafa-san's mission is.
Yeah, I had an interview with the chief of Hayabusa project in my magazine Japan Spotlight, and he said, I asked him what was the most difficult part of your project, and he answered that Japanese perfectionism, Japanese structural pessimism on the basis of perfectionism was the most difficult impediment to the project of Hayabusa. So, yeah, I think in that sense we should learn a lot from Indians.
No, actually, the best people on the opposite side are, I think, Americans.
Americans.
The best on the opposite side, if you are looking for
But
antithesis.
I
They are
think-
very good in self-promotion, keeping themselves, everyone motivated.
No, I feel that if you want to sell something, you need to market it. So you have to explain it in a way that people should get attracted to. I mean, if you have a look at the best example for that would be the launch of iPhone. The way Steve Jobs explains the features, people get it. So that's what I think Japanese people should get.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. But I think, Japanese perfectionism, I'm not, supporting Japanese perfectionism, but it has some merits, certainly.
Of course.
So why don't you Indians or Americans or whatever take advantage of Japanese perfectionism in partnering with them? I think that might produce a good outcome.
Yes.
We usually have a thing in our mind that this is the product of a Japanese company, it must be good.
Yes.
Yes.
So
In India, there is high respect for the Japanese quality.
Yes, that high quality of Japanese product can be done by Japanese perfectionism.
Yes.
That's really respectable, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I was stationed in Silicon Valley about 10 years ago. At that time, I had lots of talk with American entrepreneurs, and they highly respected Japanese perfectionism. That was really a key for their interest in achieving partnership with Japanese companies. Yeah.
So that's actually a little dilemma in my mind also, that while Japan is perfectionist, the rest of the world is very opportunistic right now. People don't have time for perfectionism, they just want to get something done and move on. Both have their advantages, but very difficult for both of them to combine. So what is the solution? Maybe certain areas that Japan should focus on where perfectionism is needed.
Yeah.
The areas where perfectionism is not needed should be.
Yeah. For example, mobile technology.
Yes.
Or some, nanotechnology.
I see.
Yeah, something like that. I think that the Japanese are very good
Yes.
in those technologies. So why don't you take advantage of
I see.
those technologies in Japan? Yeah.
On the other hand, like maybe infrastructure, for example, I don't know. What area will be there where Japan maybe should not focus?
I have no idea.
Marketing.
Marketing, yeah.
That's what I feel. I mean, if you go to any company's website, you cannot read anything. Although the products are everywhere, but the product is so damn good. If you market it a little well, you can gain a lot of market.
Well, that's already happening. For example, iPhone or even Samsung Galaxy and all these new smartphones. As I hear, a very large number of their components are made in Japan actually. Pretty much all of them, as some people put it. But that's where the value of marketing is. In the current world, and probably that has been the case all the time, the people who market take the biggest share. So even though Japan is probably making all those components for iPhone, but the biggest profit margin is probably taken by Apple because they are doing the marketing.
That would be like B2C model, and Japan is good at B2B. But they can get directly to customers, I think.